everyone, and welcome back to the Colour Cave, where we like to play with art stuff. My name is Jem, and I have been procrastinating about tackling the Upcrate battle, but today is the day and we're going to go for it. It is Sunday, so there is items in the shop today, including the Tombow pens that are in this month's Upcrate that I'm going to be using to create this video. So if that catches your eye or you'd like to check out some of the other new and used supplies that are available, including Prismacolor pencils today, head over to the Cave Stash at the website and pick yourself up something nice. So my decision on the prompt for this was actually courtesy of Jan, who is a serial commenter and she's also very funny. So when the Upcrate battle was shown as your galaxy, she made the joke about chocolate. Here in the UK we have a chocolate bar called a galaxy bar. I was just having a look at the colours that we've got available to us. Now bearing in mind we've got two browns and a gold, and we've also got this green as well, plus a graphite pencil. Gonna draw a galaxy bar. We're actually going to do this today. Obviously I won't be able to go for like an ultra realism style because of the limitations of the supplies that I've got, but I think I might be able to give us like a stylised version of this. So I've got it on a white background and I've tried to take a photograph at the angle that I'm actually going to be looking at it. I've got a very specific spot on the desk that it's going to sit on. I can't have that in shot and the drawing at the same time. I don't have enough room. So this is going to be off to side, but I'm going to pop the photograph up in the corner here for you just so that you can, you know, make that comparison. So this is going to sit off to the side. I have promised Mr. Jem that after I'm finished with this, he can eat it. I don't have much of a sweet tooth, so I'm not tempted by this at all. Give me a dod of bread or a packet of crisps and I'm yours for life though. So that is what we're going for today, and I may live to regret this decision because I have no idea how this is going to go, but I've thought about it more and more, and this is what happens when I do the unboxing separate from the actual art challenge. I have time to ruminate over the box because obviously when I unbox the boxes I'm doing it blind, so you're getting my sort of first reaction, and the more I thought about it the more frustrated I've gotten with this month's Upcrate, and it's the first time it's ever happened with Upcrate. I was just so set up after, you know, getting this this manga paper and all these pens that, okay, they're a bit of a hodgepodge but you can make them work. And then all this wonderful information about manga and, you know, tutorial steps and all this kind of stuff, to then be hit with a prompt that not only doesn't really fit in with the supplies but has nothing to do with the rest of the contents of the bottle post. I'm kind of frustrated about it, and that's why I've just decided to take this prompt literally and just go for it. The other thing I've just remembered about as well is I have changed the PO box address. So if you're looking for the PO box address, whether you want to send something or whether you want to return something, it is now in the About section along the top of the YouTube channel dashboard. So if you just look along the tabs along the top, it's usually the last one, and if you click on that, that brings up the information page about me and the channel, and the PO box address is in there for you. Thank you for your patience. I had to change over just because I really wasn't satisfied with the service I was getting. It's a lot of money. Aside from hopefully rendering a chocolate bar today, a couple of things I want to try and do for myself to slow down and be patient. If you're going to do something semi-realistic like this, patience is absolutely key, and a lot of it's to do with the initial sketching stage rather than, you know, getting the colours right, because if it's off in any way, that's when everything else just starts to look off. By nature, when I'm filming, I do tend to rush things because I'm very conscious of the amount of footage I have to edit. So I'm going to try and ignore that today, and I will tell you at the end how long it's actually taken me to do this start to finish. It is just coming on 1 o'clock just now. So the first thing I'm thinking about is the proportions. And we do want these lines to be as clean as possible, but also the angles have to be right too. So I'm trying to pay quite close attention to the angles and also the trajectory. Now I'll start out with very rough lines, but I'm trying to keep these as clean as possible just so that it's less for me to erase a bit further down the line. Now there's kind of a hump here where the paper wrapper has kind of like bumped up a little bit. Okay, so I'm happy with the overall shape, so I'm just starting to mark in some of the design. So we've got this basic design that's supposed to look like this big flowing bit of chocolate. And then we've got this gold section in the middle, which I'm not really sure how I'm going to tackle that in terms of getting some variation going there. I'm not panicking yet, put it that way. Yet. So I'm just trying to mark as much of this out as carefully as I can. This is one of those ones I talk about stepping away from your artwork. And this is a prime example of something that you need to do that with, because when you're trying to be quite precise and get everything right, sometimes you can't see the wood for the trees. I've probably picked one of the most complicated subjects I could possibly have done. So there is only so much you can do with a set of limited supplies, but we'll try and make it look as much like a galaxy bar as possible. And then on the cover there's this very tempting chunk of chocolate. It's kind of like a dip in it. It's not even just like a square of chocolate anymore. They used to just be like little cubes. And they've just gone and made it all complicated. And then down the bottom, just to add insult to injury, we do have the same logo, and there's part of it shown at the top of the bar here. Oh. And it's literally just a few wee bumps. And then you can just see the tail of that Y disappearing. And then down the bottom here, I've given myself a sort of indicator line, and this is just where it starts to curve round. So there's writing on there as well. The writing doesn't look curved though, which makes me really happy. It's exactly the same font, so I'm going to find that very difficult to match this up to what's going on up the top. But okay, I think truthfully, bearing in mind, I know I said I was going to take my time and try and not rush this. I do have a time limit. I can't sit here indefinitely for, like 3 days and try and get this perfect. I think I'm quite happy with the details I've got so far. I did fail to mention at the start of this video, I will be cheating. I am not just using the supplies that are here. The other things I'm going to use is a little bit of rubbing alcohol or surgical spirit to water down the alcohol markers, and that's just so I can get some of the lighter colours that are involved in here. And I may or may not use a tiny bit of white gel pen or paint pen just to pop in a few highlights. So one of the main challenges that I'm going to have here is that these two colours are really close together. I've got the same situation with the blue, and I'm not going to be using the blues obviously, but I might just add them in as part of the shadow just for a bit of fun. I don't know, it's just, this box is ridiculous. But yeah, these two are really close together, and I think that's where the challenge is going to come. So the first part I'm going to start on the right hand side here, and I want to start with the shadow, because it's fairly straightforward and it's a nice, comfortable, easy place for me to start. Now obviously doing a shadow with an HB pencil isn't ideal either. We've also got our black fine liner here, which I'm just going to add in. Okay, so I have my dark brown here, which is the P977. It's actually not, it looks more chocolatey than it is. It's actually like a kind of off, I don't know, slightly tan colour. So I'm just going to start in this section here. And I've got this edge. Now one of the things I'm encountering straight away with these pens on the paper, and it is very slight, but there is a degree of bleed, so you have to leave yourself a margin to allow the ink room to spread out. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to gauge this very well at all, but we'll see. So I'm probably not going to get the crispness that I would like, in all truthfulness. There's no point in me layering and blending these as well, because the colours are so close together. It's not really going to do anything for me. So that's a bit of a shame. What I do want to do now is bring this shape down. And this section here is a lot darker, so I'm going to start layering up the marker. And I actually, I can see the ink sitting on top of the paper, so I'm not going to be able to get that much darker, unfortunately. But this is what we've got to roll with, so this is what we're going to do. Now see, I'm wondering what's going to happen if I put a really fine line down there to show the sheen on the chocolate. Ooh, I might get away with that. Now for the sake of continuity, I'm going to pop in this line here. And that gives me this section here, which is very, very dark. And again, I'm very limited as to what I can do with that. And with my little green Sharpie marker, I'm not going to go I'm not going to go into detail with this because it's just a little bit too complicated. But if I get the sort of general gist of what's going on, I'll be quite happy. I'm still going to have to pencil it out though. There's a little frog in here. Rainforest certified cocoa. So I'm using the sort of finest part of the chisel nib here. And I just want to get that idea that, yeah, this logo's here. Not pretending it's not here, but... So something like that. Yeah, why not? You'll do for me. Now we're going to do this chocolate in the middle. Now this is where it's going to get kind of funky. So again, I'm just having to utilise the fine liner, and it doesn't really fit in with what I'm trying to do, but it's the only resource I have, therefore. And I'm just hitting the very edges of that, because this is like, you know, like an indentation into the chocolate. So I'll take this paler colour first. This is so tiny. I don't think I've ever done anything this ridiculous in my life with a prompt. But there's a first time for everything. So down the bottom here we've got this line that follows the shape of the chocolate, like this. And then we've got this part here. So these colours are practically identical. This is infuriating. Okay, and for this top section here, I think I'm going to try and dilute out this paler colour. I don't even think that this is going to be worthwhile, but I'm going to try anyway. I've just got a little synthetic number 2 round here, that's all I'm using. And then we've got a little dark patch up here at the corner, and that comes down like this. Okay, now this is where things are going to get tricky, because obviously with the gold, I have no way of shading or anything like that because it's metallic. So I'm going to have to figure out what the hell I'm going to do. Going to do with this. But I think what I would like to do is I'll test this out. I've still got my test sheet here. And you can see I've got some of that pen out there. I want to see what happens if I take my HB pencil over the top of this to see if I can darken it down without taking away too much of the gold. So that's me pressing really heavily, and it is starting to kind of like peel the paint off. It's still there, but when you tilt it in the light, it's kind of scratchy. But if you're looking at it square on, it does seem quite dark. So if I go more lightly over it, again, the same thing, depending on what angle you're at, that could be advantageous. So I'm going to use that as my shadow, and the lightest parts will just have to be the gold. So I've got a really nice edge here that I can work with. So far so good. So really I need to just fill this whole area in. I've just made a little discovery as well. If I put down some of the graphite pencil on top of the gold paint, I can actually then use the alcohol marker because it sticks to the graphite. If you use it on top of the paint just as it is, the paint is oil based and it doesn't take, and it gives this sort of dried out effect that's happened down here. I will tilt this in the light in just a moment. So that's advantageous to me right now, because we can use this to make some darker areas on the gold, which is just the ticket right now. I do feel as if I'm going to have to employ a bit more of this fine liner, which is going to take this further away from that sort of nice, you know, realistic type way that we were going with things, but there's not much really that you can do. I've just made the executive decision as well. I'm going to start hatching in some of these areas because I'm not happy with the whole mid-tone debacle. Now we've been through this a few times before with a few sets of pens as well, so it's kind of annoying. It's very difficult to get any sort of contrast. I'm going to wait for that to dry, and I'm going to try and outline it in black, so I don't know how that's going to go either, but I'm sure we'll find out. So let's get this last part of the logo done now. Again, a very fine line down here. And then we have a highlight that comes just under here as well and kind of fades out into nothing. I don't want to overdo it too much with the fine liner, but I'm trying my hardest to like sort of calm the beans with it. But there's places like in round here, I just feel like that needs to be in there. Like it just needs to be there. Okay, I'm seriously considering for the writing to actually just do it in black. I actually use the brush for its intended purpose, which is quite nice. Yeah! Love it when a plan comes together. But again, I think what I'll do is I'll probably just round it out with some of this. I really don't want to, right? I'm not going to do that just yet. I'm not going to do it just yet. It's very difficult though, especially with shapes like this. If you want to layer up the ink, you know, to get it a bit deeper, you've got to be so careful because it's feathering very slightly. You're just not going to get the clean, crisp lines that you desire. This is supposed to be kind of like a thinner line. And then a fatter line. Whoa, almost doing a bit of calligraphy here. Oh, I've joined that up. I wasn't supposed to join that up. Dagnabbit. Well, it's joined up now. I'm sorry. To be fair, I've done worse. Now, this part down here does actually look darker. See, because it's on the side and there is going to be a shadow running across here where the bar curves round at the bottom. I might be as well doing this in fine liner, but try not to join it up this time, Jem. And again, that's supposed to be in gold, and I think it's actually the same size as this font, but I don't think that this will be, because the point's quite hefty on this. Do you know what? No, do you know what I'm going to do? I'll actually use this for it and I'll make that black. That's a better idea. So let's just go for it. And again, I'm just going to have to go for this here, and I'm going to bring my shadow up and round here. Okay, so just to finish off the actual bar part now, and this is going to be pretty uneven, but I'm kind of okay with that too. There's only one particular kink in the actual paper itself on the wrapper, and it's round towards the foil end. I'm really just using this to take the white of the paper away, and see, I'm not actually all that bothered whether it's even or not, because the actual wrapper is obviously, it's like more of an off-white colour than anything else. And this is the closest thing we've got, so this is what we're going to use. Hang the consequences. We'll darken in some shadows with the graphite pencil. Okay, I'm actually fairly happy with that. See, it's just taking the edge off that, which is quite nice. So all is well there in terms of that. So I'm going to work on this shadow down here now, which runs it's a very slight shadow, but it runs the full length of the bar right up into here. So this is us. We're going on 2.5 hours now, guys. Yeah, so this actually comes across and curves there. So that was a miscalculation on my part earlier on. Okay, so then we have the gold foil. Now, on the gold foil, there is this lettering. It's very slight, and I would just be torturing myself if I thought I was going to achieve that. That would just be silly. So I'm just going to get this foil part coloured in now. Make sure I've got a nice defined line down here as well. Okay, I need to tackle some of the shading on the actual paper part of the label. I just wanted to leave that to settle properly and really sort of, dry out. So I'm just going to use the graphite pencil for this. And it is a little bit scratchy, I'm not going to lie, but I'm just going to do my best here. So the shadow's actually quite dark down here, and it starts to behave itself a bit better. But it does come up almost onto the label. There we go, so you can see that's starting to give me a bit of a curvature already, which is fabulous. And I do find it easiest with this, I think it might just be me, I might just be a bit weird, but I find it easiest to start from either end and like join it up in the middle. I don't know if that's weird or not, but that's just the the way my brain works, I suppose. So the interesting thing about this little shadow here as well is there's actually some bounce light because I had the bar sitting on a white piece of paper. If you look along the very bottom edge of the actual chocolate bar, it's actually quite pale, and it's because the light has reflected off the white paper that it's sitting on and is bounced up onto the wrapper, which is also quite pale. So there is a thing about bounce light. It's something I don't normally include because I don't like to make things that complicated for myself. But it's in this situation, because it's a pale wrapper, it's very apparent indeed. And I always think things like that are quite interesting if you're into that sort of thing. Really difficult to get some smooth pencil going on here without pressing really hard. Just trying to get this core shadow in the middle. Don't judge me. Don't judge me. Yeah, okay, it's a bit skinny in places, but we'll get there. We'll get there. I'm just going to turn this round. My hand's starting to get quite sore now, just because I've been at this for a while, and that's perfectly normal for my hand to do that. So by not having to contort myself into strange positions, that's always helpful. And this is obviously a very relaxed and natural position for my poor hand to sit in. We've also got a slight shadow down this side. I said earlier about like a slight crinkle in the wrapper. Again, I don't know how much you'll be able to see it on the actual photograph that I've taken. And I don't know how well I've managed to capture the angle because, again, I tried my best to take the photograph from the position that I was going to draw in so that you could see what I was doing. I don't know how much I've succeeded with that, though. I'm sure you'll let me know. I'm not really looking for this to be exact, if I'm honest. Again, I seem to be able to get a layer of pencil down, and then when I go back over the top of it the second time, it's a little bit less scratchy looking. I'm trying to use the lightest of touches here. See, now, it's funny because in the unboxing I made the offhand comment about not really using pencil in this paper, so the fact that it didn't blend well wasn't really a problem, and now I am eating my own words. It does matter, it matters very much to me right now. What can you do? Onto the foil. Right, this should be lovely and dry now, so I'm going to try and pick out some of the main kind of crinkly points, listen to me, and just fill them in with the graphite. Because I'm more interested in just giving the appearance of these crinkles rather than going for it, again, just because we're with limited supplies, all the things I've been saying up till this point. I feel like I may even have to fill some of these sections in with the fine liner, which is kind of weird. Because there are parts that are really, really dark. Now it's a shame because if I was working just in pencil here, I could have gradated out all these areas and made them look quite realistic. But say limitations of what we've got, which is fine. And there's a few lines here where I think I'll use the fine liner because they're like really dark creases. Maybe accentuate them more down on this bottom edge. So if I tilt that in the light now, oh, there we go. We're getting somewhere. Feeling a bit more optimistic. Okay, I'll let that dry before I put the shadow in down here. And then this just leaves us our chocolate blocks, which are going to be a total nightmare. You can tell I'm really enjoying myself. I am actually enjoying myself. So I think what I'm going to do for these is I'm going to use the paler Tombow marker. And I just want to put the shapes in of each segment and just fill them in really quickly. So that is going to be our actual chocolate, although it doesn't look much like chocolate right now. That's okay. And literally a block at a time. There's like a little bit of shade in there, and then there's this section. It comes up like this because the shape of the pieces are really abnormal just to make things nice and easy for me. I don't know whether these are supposed to be heart-shaped pieces or whether there's just this sort of indent, like, yeah, I don't know. I don't eat chocolate. This is part of my problem. Okay, again, just to keep the planes here, I think I'm going to go in here with a little bit of fine liner, just so that shows that there's some sort of definition there and I'm not losing my marbles. And then it's almost like a heart shape. That's so strange. I don't think I've ever looked at chocolate so closely in my life. Anytime I do eat chocolate, which as I say isn't very often, I just tend to sort of shove it in. Am I on my own with that one? Does anybody else feel the same way? Oh, I'm trying my best here, guys. I'm not getting on very well though. because this curvature is still here, but it's just not as apparent. I might have to blend that out a little bit. That looks nothing like chocolate. I've done way better with the wrapper than the chocolate so far. Oh, good grief. Yeah, right, okay, I'm going to maintain this sort of pseudo fine liner effort here. See, there's like a shadow in there as well, but I can't do anything about that. And I think I'm going to have to cheat with this though, guys. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill in all these little gaps with this pale colour. I'm just going to go over this once, and I'm going to grab myself a little white pen just to put some shiny highlights on this chocolate. I feel as if I've done everything I can with the supplies that I've got. I haven't used the blue. I will use one of the blues to sign the... In fact, we could maybe put a little bit of blue in the shadow just for fun, couldn't we? Down, you know, the cast shadow. That might be quite nice. But yeah, I'm feeling like the depth isn't here. The chocolate should really be a lot darker. You know, like see when that's wet, if it was that colour when it was dry, I would be super happy. But no such luck. And there's quite heavy shadow areas again. Probably could do this with the pencil a bit better rather than anything else. The light's starting to change for me now as well. Obviously we've been here for quite a while, so I'm starting to struggle a bit, and I don't want to go on much longer here because I'm going to end up skewing my shadows. If I'd thought about it, I would have closed the blind and taken the photograph. That's satisfying me a little bit more. Not much, but a little bit more. Right, I think I'm going to put a little bit of this blue. It's very, very pale anyway. It's not that exciting. And then what I'll do is I'll sign my name with the other Sharpie. And that'll be me used every item. Oh, yeah. Look at that. That's working great with the graphite. What a good idea. See, I have good ideas sometimes. Not all the time, but sometimes. That's fabulous. I wish I'd done that earlier. Right, just while we're on the subject here, I'm going to put in my cast shadow under here as well. Yeah, just to finish this off, I need to make sure this is going to behave itself. I keep saying it, but this Posca pen's on its last legs, and it's still the same one that I've been saying that about for forever. But I just want to add a few finishing touches here. I actually genuinely feel as if I've worked hard with this today, and I just feel like the prompt in the box, it's a bit farcical. That's maybe a bit strong, but I'm just a bit sort of disillusioned with it. So if I want to treat myself to a bit of white Posca, I'm damn well going to do it. That's it. That's all I wanted it for. Nothing else. That's it. Okay, I think I'm going to call it done at that, guys. Let's sign it so that I've used all of the pens. Where will I sign it? I'll sign, yeah, I think I'll just keep my signature out the way down here. Oh, deep breath. Okay, it's 3:15. Yes, so that's taken me 2.5 hours of solid drawing. That kind of tells you all you need to know. Do you know what? Here we go. Every time I do this, see when I get to the end of a video and I'm starting to kind of wrap up, that's when I start picking my pen up again. And I think I want to actually use the blue in here just to strengthen this shadow a little bit. Yeah, aside from my displeasure with the actual cohesion of the box and also the cohesion of the supplies, because I don't think... I don't know what it is, and maybe I have a predisposition to it because I'm not really a fan of pens and markers, but I always just feel as if these boxes, like, they've been chucked together and it's like, oh, what have we got lying about? Let's just chuck that all in together. I don't feel like, even as a set of pens, I don't think these go well together. The inclusion of the Sharpies just strikes me as really, really odd because it's a stationery item, it's not an artist item. And if they were going to do that, they could have at least given us, you know, a set of colours that would complement the other colours that were there. So I've basically ended up with the 2 Tombow markers, and I think everyone got the same Tombow markers. Please correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. But bearing in mind how close together these are in colour, if you were going to give us some Sharpies, at least have the decency to not give us a Sharpie that's the same colour as one of the other ones. And I feel for you, I know some of you got really crappy Sharpies in terms of colour choice, so you know, my thoughts are with you on that one. I hope you've enjoyed this. This is more the kind of drawing that I do in my spare time, the very little of it I have. This is the kind of thing I like to draw, because I really like to get my teeth into things and I like detail. So this was actually very, very challenging for me today. And I have to say, I'm relatively pleased with the outcome. It's not perfect. It's never going to be perfect. But I feel it's more the effort that I've had to put in. I feel as if I've put in the effort that I should have put in. And I've reaped the rewards for it. So I would love to hear your thoughts and how you managed with your wonky set of supplies. If you had, you know, that some of you had mentioned your strange colour combinations, please tell me what you've done with them down in the comments, because I would love to hear about that. Here I go again. Never going to give this up. I tell you what, see, after doing this, I feel like I need a stiff drink. It's a bit early in the day for Jack Daniels, I think. Yeah. Okay, guys, that's it. I'm done this time. If I just tilt it in the light now as well, you'll be able to see the gold sections as well. I want to thank you very much for watching, especially if you've made it this far. Thank you very much indeed. If you want to hit the like button, that would really help me out too. All that's left to say is please stay safe and take care of each other, and I will see you back in the cave on Thursday for another video. So have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye for now.